Welcome to the first session of the day. In fact, the fifth in the row. To the first session of the day. In fact, the fifth in the row, but the first for today. And the theme is Evolving and Emerging School Systems. The first speaker is Mr. Brijesh Karya. This particular session will explore the evolving and emerging school systems. May I request the AV team to play the video, the profile video?
Dr. Brijesh Karya, a trailblazer in the field of education. He is a visionary educator whose commitment towards innovation and excellence distinguished 22-year career in education and international recognition for remarkable contributions. He is academically honored with a doctorate degree in education leadership, recognized as an outstanding leader and transformative influencer. He displays excellent leadership qualities, a keynote speaker at national and international conferences like GESS Dubai, School Leadership Summit, Brainfeed Ed Talks, DIDAC India, and Ed Talks, also authority on national education policy. Dr. Karya's impact as a global icon in education and his exceptional public speaking abilities are a testament to his enduring legacy in the field.
Mumbai, Sahodaya extends a warm welcome to you, Dr. Brijesh Karya. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. Couldn't hear you all. My problem is I have been a teacher for 15 years in my life. And whenever I wish my students, usually the answer is very loud. So let me try that one more time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Fantastic. I think most of you all have had a very heavy breakfast, so it's taking time to sink in, right? So what I'll do is, before I start my session, can we do a small activity before we start? Yes or no? Yes. Good. This is a silent classroom. Let's bring some energy in. Come on. I would request everyone to stand up, please. I would request everyone to stand up. Okay. There's a very simple test that I want to do. Most of us are educators, teachers, principals, heads of schools. Do you want our students to listen to us? Yes or no? Yes. For that, you have to listen to me. Okay? I'll do a small activity. You have to listen to me, follow what I say, then your children will automatically listen to you. Is that okay, everyone? Okay, come on. So when I say 1, you will stomp your right foot on the ground with full energy. People in the lake should hear us. Okay? Come on. 1. Superb. When I say 2, you should stomp your left foot on the ground, again with full energy. Okay? Come on. 2. Superb. When I say 3, you will turn around and give a high five to the person next to you. One condition, it has to be coordinated. All should clap at once, together, coordinated. Is that okay, everyone? Come on, 3. Wow. That was the worst coordination I've seen in my life. Right? Let's try that one more time. Come on, 3. My God. I thought the previous one was worst. I said clap. Some people are about to slap, it seems, you know. Don't do that. I can see the confusion. Many people don't know whom to clap. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Decide whom you're going to clap. If there is nobody next to you, put both your hands in the air and clap. Simple. Is that okay? 5 seconds are starting now. Decide whom you're going to clap. Right, everyone? Are we ready? Come on. 3. We are getting there. We are getting there. Now we'll do all the 3 together. Is that okay? Come on. Energy. 1, 2, 3. Super. One more time. Come on. 1, 2, 3. One last time. Full energy. Come on. 1, 2, 2. Hello. What happened? Were the instructions clear? This is exactly what happens with students. You give them clear instructions. They don't follow the instructions. So don't get angry on them like I'm not getting angry on you. Right, everyone? A big round of applause for all of you. You guys are fantastic. Please, please, please sit down. Thank you so much. Right? We're talking about the changing face of education. Very, very interesting topic. One of my favorite topics. I've been speaking at various national and international conferences, especially on this topic, because it's very, very close to my heart. right? Before I start this, I want to ask you a simple question. I'm sure many of you are seasoned educators since decades, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, right? Are the students the same as they were 10 years back? 20 years back? 30 years back? It's not the case, right? And that's why a lot of things are changing. So first quality that we as teachers need to develop is a quality of resilience. How many of you will agree? Resilience is important. Can we watch a small video before I start my session? It's a very important video from an educator's perspective. Shall we start? I'll just set the context. The story is about a person called as Derek Redmond. The story is from the year 1992 Barcelona Olympics. A man called as Derek Redmond was poised to win the 400-meter race. His father made an announcement, not only will my son win the race, he will smash all the world records, just wait and watch. So what happened in that race, there's a very important lesson for all of us. Can we have that video, please? Derek Redmond. So, beautiful video from the year 1992. This is the man. The whole world's media's focus and attention was on him. That Derek Redmond is not only going to win the race, but he's going to smash all the records. So once the race started, there you can see Derek Redmond in the middle of the screen. As I told you, he was poised, he was favored to win this race. Everyone had quoted that he's the man to beat. However, in the race, after running 150 meters, just 250 meters before the race, a very, very sad, very, very unfortunate incident happened. What was that incident? There you see him in the middle of the track. His hamstring tore. And he hobbled and fell to the ground in pain. The supposed world champion, the so-called world champion, unfortunately, in the middle of the race, there you go. His hamstring muscle tore extremely badly. And Olympics come once in 4 years. Yep. Now a very interesting thing happened. He was there on the ground. Stretcher bearers came on the ground. They said, we need to take him away. He's not in a position to run. But look at this man, how differently built he was. Despite the pain, he stood up and he began to hobble along the track. He said, I am not going to go on the stretcher at all. I am not taking the stretcher. Because I have started the race, come what may, I am going to finish this race. I am not going to stop in between. Suddenly, one man broke the security corridor, the barrier, and entered the track. That man was his father, who was also his coach, who had made the announcement that my son is going to smash the records. So if you see in the video, there's a man fighting at the back with the security. He comes to him. He says, son, you're in extreme pain. You don't have to do this. You're in no condition to finish this. You're in no condition to do this. He tried his level best to convince the son that let's not do this. You're in extreme pain, as he said. You can see he's hobbling. Father is trying his level best to convince the child that this is not the right thing to do. He told his weeping son, you don't have to do this. The son said, no, father, I have to do this because I've started this race. And this is when one of the most beautiful things happened. He said, in that case, let's do this together. I'm not going to let you do this alone. So the father put his arms around the son's shoulder and said, let's do this together. Come on, I'll take you to the finish line. I'm not going to leave you alone in the middle of the track. And that is how you see the father and the weeping son eventually making their way to the finish line. And as soon as the finish line came, the father eventually let go of the son and said, son, go finish your race. And a crowd of 65,000 gave him a standing ovation. Believe you me, till date, nobody remembers who won the gold medal in this race. But everyone remembers Derek Redmond. Why am I saying this? Our students are running a similar race. A 400-meter race where the parents have made an announcement. He is going to smash the records. Some children will run very well. Some will hobble and fall down on the ground. Can you as a teacher put your arms around them and say, don't worry, I am there. We'll do this together. Take them to the finish line and make sure everyone's a winner. So round of applause for all the teaching fraternity. It's a fantastic thing that you are doing. It's phenomenal. Right? So moving to the presentation very, very quickly. The changing face of education. Now we've been hearing a lot about education 4.0, haven't we? Yes or no? So in my assessment, how do I see education 4.0? Right? The first phase in India, we had a beautiful Gurukul system. There was a value-based system. Would you agree, everyone? Yeah, you used to have a personal mentor, a guru grooming you for life. You used to learn scripture. Some of them used to learn weapons and whatnot. Right? So that was personal mentorship involved education 1.0. Second, the British came in, the colonization era started. They wanted workers. They wanted clerks, they wanted accountants. So that is when the British system came in. Focus was more on literacy. They wanted to cater to huge masses. Anybody could work anywhere in the country. Focus was on a job-ready student, so he can go and sit in their offices and do their work. Largely information-driven, and classroom was built around teachers. Then came education 3.0, post-independence. Students started getting future-ready. Lots of careers started opening up. Students became more career-oriented. Modern teaching tools and technology was introduced. And also, attributes of personalization were born. Students realized, teachers realized, all students are not the same. We have to be different with them. And right now, where are we? Education 4.0. Students have become global citizens. Will you agree? I was in Malaysia last week at Taylor's University giving a talk. They had students from 100 countries studying there in Malaysia. I was absolutely surprised to know that fact. An Indian welcomed in Malaysia by an Australian. There can be no definition of globalization better than this. Giving talks from different countries, right? So students have now become global citizens. Believe me, I was in Patiala a couple of weeks back. An 8th standard child is coming and asking me, 8th standard child, sir, IIT Bombay is better or IIT Madras is better? What do you think I should prepare for? Imagine his futuristic insight. That's the kind of prep that students are doing nowadays. So that's what I'm trying to say, that if we as teachers have to move along with the times, along with the students, right? Personalized education, defined learning paths, and teachers' role is slowly moving towards what? Towards being a facilitator. I think the CBSE dignitaries, when they spoke yesterday, the kind of vision that they shared, it's a beautiful vision, and the NEP with coming on the ground, I'm sure we are meeting all these objectives. So hats off to the policymakers, hats off to the dignitaries who are making sure that things are changing on the ground. Because I travel across the country, I visit at least 1,000 schools a year, I can see the change on the ground, and it's beautiful. So can we have a round of applause for all the functionaries who are making the change happen on the ground? It's absolutely beautiful. Because it's easy to sit in a room and say, can this change not happen? Versus going to the ground and lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of students making that change happen is an absolutely phenomenal task, and the government is doing a fantastic job of it. Right? Going forward, we are talking about the changing face of education, so it's very important to understand the modern student. Because in India, 3 things are very common. I travel across India. 3 things are very common. One is cricket. Everyone loves cricket, yes or no? Second is tea, chai. In India, anywhere you go, they say chai piyenge. हम बोलते हैं भाई ये क्या सवाल हुआ, जरूर पियेंगे. Right? And third is teachers का dialogue जो है, आजकल के बच्चे पहले जैसे नहीं रहे. This is a very common dialogue I hear across the country. Will you agree? Yes or no? Yes, that's a fact, because students have changed. Their mindset has changed. Their skills have changed. They are born with a different set of skills. We need to understand that. Right? First, let's understand the mindset. One, they are global citizens. I'm sorry. Yeah, they are global citizens, as I spoke to you, because the exposure that they have with technology, YouTube, social media, they know each and everything that's happening in every part of the country. Believe me, some students also know the solution to the Russia-Ukraine problem. I mean, that's the kind of exposure that they're having on a lighter note, right? They can tell you why Russia attacked, what Ukraine should do, how the peace will come. To that extent, they are talking, right? Next, adaptive learners. They adapt very fast to new environments. Learning environments are changing. COVID was the best example. How many of you had never used Google Meet or Zoom or Microsoft Teams before COVID? Never used. How many of you are absolute champions at it now? You are virtually throwing students out of classrooms, aren't you? Nowadays. So that is where, who adapted fast? Student or teacher? Tell me in that environment. Student. Because many teachers came and told me, sir, we are thankful to our students, we learned from them. Many of them learned so many features. How many of you all learned from students? See, beautiful, more than 50%. Fantastic. So they're adaptive learners. They adapt to new situations very fast. Collaborative learners, and that's why project-based learning is a very important component. They come together, they collaborate. I was in one of the schools in India. A history teacher gave a project, and I was so like, I went, wow, what is this? So teacher told them, make a project on Facebook, 1 page each for every Mughal emperor. The way the students collaborated, one said, okay, I'll do the research. Second said, I'll create the Facebook page. Third said, I'll make sure it's circulated in a friend's network. Fourth said, I'll make sure that the likes are coming properly from time to time. The way they collaborated and made sure that there's a page available, it was just amazing to see the way students perform. They are self-driven. They know there are tools available at their disposal. And the kind of projects that they are putting up, you can't imagine. Right? Not only that, they are digital natives. Will you agree to this? Yes or no? Okay, let me take a small test. How many of you think you are good with technology here? Raise your hands. Wow. Can I take a small test? Yes or no? Test मुझे बड़ा मजा आया. Can I take a small test? Yes, this was the answer. I didn't understand which is this yes. चलिए कोई बात नहीं, मैं टेस्ट ले ही लेता हूँ. How many of you are on Facebook? Please raise your hands. Almost 100%. Wow. Everyone loves Facebook. How many of you are on Instagram? 70%. I can see hands at the back going down now. How many of you are on Snapchat? 15%. 70 se seedhe 15. How many of you are on Discord? 10 hands. Others are looking at, what is this? Ye kis chidiya ka naam hai, Discord? So Discord is an app where students create groups. They are called as servers, and they chat with each other. In fact, a very interesting thing happened in one of the schools in Mumbai, one of the ICSE schools in Mumbai during COVID. There were MCQ tests happening. Do you remember during COVID? So one teacher used to put up the question paper. One smart student used to put up all the answers on Discord. And the whole class started getting full marks. So after 2 tests, even the teacher started realizing, am I such a good teacher? कि मेरे पढ़ाने के बाद सबको full marks आ रहे. So imagine, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you don't move fast enough, students are moving at a jet speed. One of the teachers was telling me, sir, I am on Facebook. I keep a track of what my students are doing on Facebook. I told her, teacher, students are not on Facebook. They moved to Snapchat and Discord. You're not even aware. Absolutely. So they're on different platforms and apps whom you're not even aware of. So my point is awareness. Teacher awareness is very, very critical in this age, because digitally, imagine if this is the scene today, what will be the scene 10 years from now? At what level will the students be operating? Because we are barely seeing the influx of internet in India. It's not even, 50% of what magic it can do. So imagine when it crosses that 50% threshold, where will the students go? And where will we be left as teachers and educators? Very important, right? Forward-looking students, they think 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line. When we were students, we used to feel, final exam mein achhe marks aayenge ya nahi? Yes or no? As I told you, 8th standard child, telling 5 years from now, IIT Bombay or IIT Madras. That's the thought. So they are thinking 5 years in advance. Can you imagine their speed, thought? Very, very critical, right? Skills, very important. I'm just quickly running through information, media, and technology skills. They are born with certain skills. They're extremely fantastic with IT. They know all social media platforms. Every news that is there is going through their eyes, right? Learning and innovation skills, they've got creativity, curiosity, problem-solving skills. You give them a real-life problem to solve, I can promise they can come up with 2 to 3 different types of solutions. And I'm seeing various projects in schools. The way students are performing is just second to none. Right? Communication skills, students are born with this now, many of them. When I was in 5th standard, somebody says, go and speak on the stage, I would literally start shivering and sweating. Will you agree? In fact, I was at a CA conference. A gold medalist CA was called on the stage to speak. Unfortunately, he was fumbling because he did not have those communication skills. But today, if you see these children perform, sing and give a speech, I was just sitting and watching those children perform. I was like, wow. It can't be better than this, right? And last, of course, life and career skills. This is very, very important because students believe that traditional careers ke alawa, there are too many options available now. I was talking to one of the students during a counseling session. I said, what do you want to be? Sir, either I want to be a YouTuber or an Instagram influencer. So imagine some of the careers are now not dependent on marks. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They are dependent on life skills. If your life skills are good, you can make a good career out of them. That's where the students are heading. And that's why I really, really compliment the CBSE, the kind of courses that they're now introducing. You know, coding, artificial intelligence, beautiful. I mean, nobody else has thought of that. And the kind of things that are coming in, the things which are there in the pipeline, this is going to be one of the most visionary curriculums going forward. Right? So thank you once again to the dignitaries who were here yesterday and laying the vision for us and path for us. One of the most phenomenal changes that's happening on the ground, as I said. I'm seeing that personally on the ground. I'm sure in the next 5 years, you will see a different education system of India, for sure. Right? Going forward, so basically to understand today's student, what are his traits? One is he's very, very inquisitive. They'll keep asking questions. Will you agree? Yes or no? They will not get satisfied if you don't answer them properly. Second, they are extremely confident. I'm sorry again. Extremely confident, purposeful, sociable, and flexible. They believe that, okay, I may not have done well in this exam. I know I'm going to do it in the next one. They don't get deterred by a setback. Not all of them, rather. Some of them still do. Right? So this is what the modern student is. So if I am an educator and if I am a modern student, what are the challenges that I am facing with these students, right? Let's try to understand those challenges. One, these students are overloaded with information. Yes or no? Will you agree? Because they are so exposed to social media, they are reading anything and everything. Will you agree? Yes or no? This is what is happening with these people. Second, short attention span. A research was done post-COVID. Can anybody guess what's the attention span of students now? 7 minutes. Children are not able to focus and concentrate more than 7 minutes. They need a small break. So if our lecture is for 35 minutes, imagine what the child must be doing. The research is saying that, by the way. Right? So now as teachers, we will have to make sure that we are teaching them in small tranches of 5 to 7 minutes each, doing a small engagement activity and then moving on to the next module. That's very, very important. Third, they process data very, very quickly. I'm really sorry. But not deeply. Will you agree? They know a lot of things, but they don't know in depth. Fourth, too much dependence on technology. While technology is good, it's got a flip side to it. They are completely dependent on it. You take a mobile away from a student 24 hours, you will see his condition. Some of them are so addicted, their fingers start jittering. Forget that, some of us have become like that. Why blame the students? Yes or no? You know, every 1 hour the attention goes there. Have you seen that? It's a distraction. In fact, one of the universities in US did a research. They said even if the mobile is in the same room while you are studying, you're going to be distracted, even if you're not touching it. Because your mind is there. Whose message must have come? What notification must have come? You know? Seeks instant gratification, highly visual. So very, very important, technology as a tool needs to be used. Students of today do not learn in black and white anymore. While they may be learning, they don't enjoying it. They're not enjoying it, sorry. And they expect a reward for almost everything. Instant gratification. Have you seen this? The parents have unfortunately made this a sorry state. You get these many marks, I'll get you a mobile. You get these many marks, I'll get you this. You do this, I'll get you that. Have you seen this happening? So what should I do as a teacher if these are my problems? Right? It's very important for us to understand what is our role in the 21st century learning scenario. Teacher's role is not just going to the classroom, completing the syllabus and coming out, conducting an exam, giving marks anymore. I can promise you that because I've traveled across the world and I can tell you the teacher's role across the world are changing. The faster we adapt, the faster will be a progressive one. So what are these things? One, the teacher has to be a fantastic communicator. How many of you will agree? Right? Second, adapter. They have to adapt to modern tools. The learner, if the teacher is not a good learner, the students will not learn. Fourth, the facilitator. And finally, the role model. Very, very important. You have to lead by example. And how will that happen? That will happen through the various roles that you play in the classroom. As I said, you are not only a teacher anymore. You're going to be a mentor, facilitator, counselor, planner, learner. These are the 5 roles that you will have to play in your classroom. You'll have to keep mentoring, you'll have to keep counseling, help them in planning. Very, very crucial. Next, most important now, what are the key skills and characteristics of a modern educator? Empathy. Without this, I personally believe a teacher is nothing. If you can't put yourself in the place of the child, nothing's going to happen. Right? Listening skills. Are you listening to your students enough? They are having problems. They are facing issues. Are you giving them a patient hearing? Very important. They are curious. Teachers have to be curious equally because students are very curious. Innovative, commitment, and creative. I'm sorry, I'm just running short on time, so I'm running this very, very quickly. Technology enthusiast, very important. Those who are not using technology, please start working on yourself. That's going to be the future 5 years from now. Organize well, create content, be a fantastic storyteller. A teacher who is a good storyteller, half his job is done, right? Content expert, and finally, flexible in approach. So what are the skills? A small table for all of you. What are the skills for the 21st century that students should learn? There is academics. These are the things that you can train yourself on. Skill building and technology. You can click a small photograph if you wish. These are the things, some of the things where you can train your teachers on, train the school leaders on. This is the need of the hour, 21st century. This is very, very important. These skills are required by the teachers, the modern day teacher rather. Right? So 4 hours, very, very quickly for all school leaders. Redesign the old systems, processes, come out of the old methods. Second, reinvent your school, philosophies, the mindset. Third, rethink what you're doing. One of the school teachers, I had gone to one school, he said, sir, 10 years back, I used to give the same example, and till date, my students learn from the same example. And he was feeling proud about it. And I was feeling sorry about it. I said, for 10 years, this man has not reinvented himself. Are you getting the perspective, how students think? So please rethink. And finally, restructure. Modern setup, modern structure, modern thinking is very, very important. So as a school leader, a small mantra for you, make a good plan. Think like a corporate. Are you having a 12-month plan for your school? Are you having a 36-month plan for your school? Where do you want your school to be after 3 years? Are you having that plan today? Are you working on that plan? Right? Second, build a good team. Very, very important. Review and iterations. In corporates, they have something called as an AOP, Annual Operating Plan. Do you have an annual operating plan for your school? Are you reviewing that continuously? If it is not on track, are you doing iterations and reiterations? Very, very important. And finally, think long term, because education is not a fly-by-night thing. Education is about the future of children. Once a child comes to you in nursery, he goes after grade 12. So please think long term about that particular child. It's very, very important, right? So finally, I'm there on LinkedIn in case if you want to chat with me, talk with me. This is my LinkedIn credential. We can definitely connect because we're running short on time. 30 seconds I will take very, very quickly. Teachers have the power to do what they want. Do you agree? Yes or no? Shall we do a small activity to conclude? Your right hand in front. Thumbs up. Up, down, wave. Make a beautiful symbol. Put it on your chin. Wow, all educated people have forgotten where the chin is. So as I told you, teachers have the power. You can make the students do what you want, right? That's the power. With this, I would like to conclude my session. Thank you so much, video. I'd like to play a small video with Rajiv sir's permission, the committee's permission. One small video. Or are we running short on time? We'll wind up? We'll play? Okay, one small video. Would you like to see a small video? I brought for all of you. This video is specially for Sahodayas. Right? It's a very small story we have all learnt in our childhood, but it is applicable to Sahodayas. Would you like to see that? Chaliye, story play karte hain. Let's start the video. It's about the hare and the tortoise. All have heard? What is the moral of the story? Slow and steady wins the race, right? Let's see.
A turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race, emerging as the undisputed champ. The rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that...
So what have we learnt in the childhood, everyone? Slow and steady wins the race. Yes or no? We are living in which century? 21st century. Do you think this is applicable in all situations today? Today is about being fast. Today is about being consistent. Yes or no? So let's watch today's version of the story, shall we? Let's watch. Continue.
Slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will all...
So the second model that we are having, today's model, the fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady in most of the situations, not all situations. For example, if I want a new project to be done, I go and say, sir, fantastic, I will do, give me 12 months. He will say, that's the door, I want in 3 months. Right, everyone? Fast and consistent. However, a small version of the story is continuing. Please, let's see that.
Always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story?
Pause, please. Very, very important. Just because some other school is doing something, you don't do the same thing. Sir, he did summer camp, we'll do summer camp. They brought a celebrity, we'll bring a celebrity. They are doing this, we'll do that. No, identify your core competency. Do what you're good at. Your school will absolutely flourish. Very, very important, right? Last version of the story, 30 seconds for Sahodaya. This is what Sahodaya is doing. This is what National Sahodaya is all about, is my personal belief, right? Can we have the story, please?
First, identify your core competency, and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended.
Here comes the Sahodaya version.
The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time, the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction.
So if we work together as schools, we help each other, we collaborate, like this is what about learning with each other, growing with each other, Sahodaya, there will be a greater sense of satisfaction. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Grateful to the organizers for giving me an opportunity. Thank you. You guys are fantastic. Round of applause for all of you. Thank you.
Please be on stage, sir. Thank you, Dr. Brijesh Karya, for your valuable insights into the evolution of school system. Your expertise has provided us with a broader perspective on this dynamic topic. May I now request Ms. Ranjana Jangra, Vice President Mumbai Sahodaya, to felicitate Dr. Brijesh Karya. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a loud round of applause as I welcome Dr. A.P. Jayaraman, who will guide us through the strategies for achieving STEAM excellence in the 21st century learning. May I request the AV team to play the profile video of Dr. A.P. Jayaraman.
Dr. A.P. Jayaraman. Dr. A.P. Jayaraman is a highly accomplished scientist, an educator with a career spanning over 4 decades in atomic energy, science, technology, and management. Graduated from the Atomic Energy Establishment's Scientific Officers Training School in India and worked in atomic energy for 40 years in various capacities. Presently serves as the Principal Scientific Advisor to HSNC University, Mumbai. Holds the positions of President of STEAM Academy and Chairperson of the National Center for Science Communicators. Dr. Jayaraman authored 25 science books and wrote over 5,000 popular science articles, received the International Copernicus Award for Science Popularization from Poland. His life's work continues to inspire and ignite curiosity in the hearts of many.
Thank you. It is nice to see compliments in a condensed fashion. All beautiful minds here. Why should a person who revolved around the sun 77 times stand before you? That is a singularity. That singularity has its own attractions. You have seen the world 77 times. I have gone to a school. I have sent my daughter to a school. I have sent 2 of my grandsons to schools. I studied in a state school. My daughter studied in a CBSE school, and my grandson studied in 2 IB schools. That's a history. And it is a history of generations. I have 5 generations story to narrate to you in 20 minutes. 20 minutes is 2,000 words. Yes, I'll stick to my time. Well, my grandfather was a product of my college education. He was a professor of English, and he taught me English. So I am a product of my college education. I learned Pride and Prejudice, and I have been asked to quote that. It's a universally acknowledged single fact that a man in possession of a good fortune is in need of a wife. And my grandfather asked me to read it 10 times every day. I read it. In 1958, my grandfather asked me to go to a youth festival and speak there, public speaking, 1958. I was in 10th standard. He told me, propriety, sagacity, and gratitude demand that we should not kick away the ladder by which we have come up to the independent stage of independence. Yes, I said that. Now, that is the typical Macaulay product. Then my grandfather also told me you should become a class 1 gazetted officer at the youngest age possible, because to give certificates of competence, this is true and false, yes. So he told me join the Atomic Energy Commission. Homi Baba is attracting the scientific talent all over the country. There are 200 students can join the Atomic Energy Establishment. I joined in 1964. And Dr. Homi Baba took classes for us. So we know what a teacher was. So that is how my education started. Can I have some slides also? I have only 20 minutes with me. Yes. So let me just go through the formal portion of teaching, because those who, George Bernard Shaw comes to my mind. Those who know, they do it. Those who don't, they teach. So I'm a teacher today because I can't do anything. At this age, I can't do anything. So I do teaching. So what I would like to say is this STEM education, science, technology, engineering, maths, is an economic imperative. But when I say it's an economic imperative, we have 5 trillion economy to be brought in that needs an industry 4. And therefore, the students coming out of the schools are not fit for colleges, and the students coming out of colleges are not fit for the industry. There's a mismatch all through our life. Next one, please. This is what the situation today is. We are all looking for innovation, and innovation we stand 40th in the world. Of course, we have South Korea, Republic of Korea at 58.6. You can see some of their educational tools outside over there. Next one, please. So STEM teachers, this is what Bertrand Russell wanted us to remember. We know a little and we do something. We know a lot, we do less. We know less, we do more. The ideal teacher is one where the K is capital and the D is capital. Next one, please. Now, this is the Murthy Mantra. The Murthy Mantra says we need 10,000 retired foreign teachers to be brought. We should have 2,500 training colleges, and we should pay $100,000 to a teacher per year. And we should have an annual budget of 1 billion, 20 years, and then only you can have a 5 trillion economy. And shall we bring our teachers from Singapore or from Estonia or from which part of the country? I do not know. Yes. Next one, please. This is, I'm a product of this school. My school is called the training school. So in 1958, Dr. Homi Bhabha said, it is not possible for us to start a program in this country unless you have people trained in that direction. And he said, when nuclear energy has been successfully applied for power production in a couple of decades from now, India will not have to look abroad for its experts. When we exploded the device in Pokhran in 1974 and 1998, products of this training school, including me, we are 50,000 of us, we were here in this country. There are only 2 areas in this country where science and technology has brought it to the ultimate destination. That is in the Department of Science and in the Department of Space. So the training school system which we have followed here, that is a very, I'm not going into the details of it. Those who want to know it, I'm in LinkedIn, they can talk to me. We'll teach from Monday to Friday. Saturday we have an exam. And we have 52 exams in a year. If you get 60% marks out of it, you will be allowed to research establishment. Otherwise, you'll be given a certificate. You should not be found anywhere near a research establishment. Next one, please. Yes, this is Andreas Schleicher. I salute him, I respect him. And I had the privilege of seeing him in action at Singapore. The PISA system, which is the best system today, we are able to compare educational systems and teachers across the geographies only under a PISA system. I'm sure it will be coming up soon to here. We had the exposure to this in the Singaporean system of education. Now, STEM education is the best investment for future, and the technology and engineering has been omitted from STEM. Next one, please. Will someone tell me if I am at 19 minutes? Yeah, please. Yes, this is the science, technology, engineering, and maths relation. And that's the need of the society as a central core. That's the nuclear force around that. Next one, please. Now, many of us are thinking that if we know a lot of science, we should be able to do. No, science doesn't help us to do that unless you have the engineering process. So the engineering mindset, for example, I remember the question which Dr. Homi Bhabha asked me when I was being selected to the training school. He took a drop of water and said, how many atoms are there in this drop of water? All of us know Avogadro's law, 6.3 to 10 to the power of 27 atoms. But to derive from Avogadro's law, to do the engineering mindset of telling this is the number of atoms in this drop of molecule, that needs an engineering mindset. Next one, please. Well, thinking STEMly, that's what we need. I can't teach you, I can only make you think. That's what Aristotle said. And today, we have also the same statement coming from all philosophers of education. Next one, please. Now, all students at the age of 14, when they come out, they should be able to use 15 verbs. Verb is the one which matters and not the nouns and adjectives. Most of us are enamored by this type of adjectives around us. But think of verbs, what you can do, what you cannot do. Next one, please. I shall not go into the technicalities of the STEM system and the PISA system. There is a next generation science standards which has been in operation in the United States for the last 40 years, and beautiful things have come out of it. So if you can integrate and internalize into your system, that will be wonderful. Next one, please. That's a STEM organogram. You should be able to find out. The most important thing is not finding correlations, but finding a causative mechanism. This happened because this is the reason. Most of us are happy with the correlations, but correlation is only very weak association. Next one, please. Well, why should we have? In a school, we will be able to, as a teacher, I should be able to make a horse walk at 5 kilometers per hour. And that's a normal walking speed of a student in the class. But if you can make the student trot at 10 kilometers per hour, then you have doubled its energy horsepower. And the third one, if you can, this is a metaphor which my boss, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, has produced, Technology Vision 2035, as the beacon for education in this country. And if you can make a horse canter at 15 kilometers per hour, you have trebled it. And the ultimate objective and the ideal situation which a teacher should be able to impart in the classroom as a facilitator is to make the student run to gallop, and that galloping speed is 50 kilometers per hour. Next one, please. Yes, and we need not one mindset. We should have 5 different mindsets. And those 5 mindsets are, we should have extreme disciplinary knowledge. That is as far as at the 19 minutes. Timekeeper, please. 10 more minutes. How many? 10. Oh, fine. I'm only halfway through. Half-life is very important in nuclear physics. And yes. Now, the 5 mindsets, which are extremely important, it's not enough to make the children have one mindset. No use. That solitary, singular moment will never help you. So you should be able to have extreme depth of knowledge in any subject. If you, for example, C.V. Raman, the Nobel laureate in physics, everything about the movement of light through a molecule is known to him. So Liz Meitner, I'm using only 2 men and 3 women because I'm very gender conscious about it. In fact, I'm a strong feminist, yes. Liz Meitner, she said that the atom, which is means the atom is uncuttable, can be split into 2. When the uranium atom is split into barium and krypton and into 3 neutrons, she knew everything about it. That is disciplinary knowledge at its greatest depth. But that's not enough. We need a person who can synthesize 2 disciplines. And those 2 disciplines are shown by the periodic table. All the teachers will be familiar with the periodic table, from hydrogen to organison, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon. You should be able to narrate it in no time. But how to synthesize that? We know all the elements, but out of the chaos caused by the confusion and indeterminateness of the diversity of chemical elements, there emerged an orderly system of elements that reflected their dialectical unity and genetic interrelationship. Finding out that dialectical unity and genetic interrelationship, that was a synthesizing teacherly mindset with Ivanovich Mendeleev had. So we should be able to acquire that situation. Now, it's enough to be disciplinarian and to have an interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary or transdisciplinary concept, but unless you can create something out of it, which Ambassador Brundtland has done, we will not be able to reach anywhere. Having said that, we need to be respectful of other disciplines, and that's given by Hypatia, the first teacher of the Pythagorean school. All said and done, we come to ethics. And today, ethics is most important. And Michael Sandler, the Harvard University, has given us the finest thought experiment as far as ethics is concerned. Next one, please. Here is the thought experiment, which I am sure most of the teachers are familiar with. We have a trolley. The trolley is moving. Suddenly, they found that the brake has failed. You have only one option. You can either turn it to the left or you can turn to the right. And if you turn it to the left, the principal and vice principal are walking over there. If you turn it to the right, where the maths, physics, chemistry, biology teachers are on this side. Will you turn it to the left or will you turn it to the right? The choice is yours. It's a painful choice. You can do what you like, but you have a third alternative. There is a tower on top. On top of that, there is a 120 kilogram weighing person standing. If you can push him down, you can save the vice principal and vice principal and also the 5 teachers. Will you do that? And if that person happens to be your father, that's a poignant situation. And in life, choices of this magnitude are coming. That's precisely the point. So today, education consists of, there is a very simple formula for this. Identify a problem. But most of us do not know what a problem is. A problem is not a difficulty. It is not a mess made by other people. It has a difference between what is and what should be. It is the delta difference between what is today and what should be tomorrow. If you can identify, evaluate, and recognize that phase of it, that delta P, that is the problem identification. Having identified the problem, you should be able to give solutions for that. If you have one problem and one solution, you are not good at it. If you have one lock and one key, it makes no difference. If you have one lock and 10 keys, then you have the ideal solutions. So for every problem, you should be able to create and generate 10 solutions. After creating 10 solutions, you should be able to draw the scenarios corresponding to each solution. And then you should be able to reject 9 solutions out of it and accept one. Murder your own darlings. I have 2 more minutes? Oh, fine. Thank you. I am very time conscious. Because Albert Einstein said time is very important. Time is money also in today's education. So this is the problem today, the ethical problems. We have to weigh in grudging scales the merits and demerits of every action and every inaction. In fact, it's more important that our inactions are measured rather than what we did not do could be more critical than what we do. Yes, may I move to my next slide? Yes, here I come to the end. This is 3 generations. I studied in one of the God-forsaken schools in a village. And that was known for its cattle fair. The school was not known. But that shandy where the cattle were sold, that was very well known. That's where I studied. That was a state board. Then I thought we should move over to CBSE. So I got a job. I asked my daughter, would you like to be a scientist? She said, no, I don't want to be a scientist. I said, why you don't want to be a scientist? Because you are bookish. You don't do anything. You only go to the library. That's the place where you get your promotions from very fast. So therefore she said, I also decided that she should go for an engineering mindset. So whatever science is there, applied science and demonstrative science. Therefore I sent for an electrical engineering at VJTI in Mumbai. Yes, then I have my grandson. I have the ethical choice to make. Then I decided, shall he be an engineer? Yes. I said, you should. First, of course, I asked him to go through the IB system. I passed along with him. I also studied along with him all through, got him through an IB. I said, where shall he go for, what shall he do? He said, non-engineering. And the route to non-engineering is through engineering. So I told him, take an electrical engineering degree because electrical engineering is extremely important because you can do a root cause analysis. And not only that, you can also do a circuit analysis. Any financial problem, you can solve it only by circuit analysis. So I told him, let us study electrical engineering, and I sent him to Imperial College London, where he did it. Then at the Imperial College London, he found out that PricewaterhouseCoopers wanted electrical engineers. So he joined PricewaterhouseCoopers. I am quite happy that there is a transition from science to engineering and to finance through this route. That's my family story. Am I through 20 minutes I have filled? 2 more minutes. Oh, 120 seconds at my disposal. Oh, and light travels at the speed of 3 into 10 to the power of 10 centimeters per kilometer. So that's the velocity of light. So this has been my journey of education from my college system, through the CBSE, through IB, and to this stage. And today I enjoy teaching. We have a teacher training college in the HSNC University. We are trying to introduce the PISA system, the STEM system, all by doing things. So knowing and doing. And that is the Bertrand Russell's system, which he did research and development. And research, development, demonstration, and deployment. And unless you deploy something, you can't do it. So that's the world of, that's the scientific analysis of my life, my next generation, previous, a 5-generation analysis of what education means to us. Thank you.
Please wait on stage. Please wait. A sincere thank you to Dr. A.P. Jayaraman for his illuminating session on strategies for STEAM excellence. Your expertise has significantly contributed to our understanding, sir. Thank you so much. May I now request Mrs. Nandita Khanna, Joint Secretary, Mumbai Sahodaya, to felicitate Dr. A.P. Jayaraman. Our next speaker for the day is Ms. Monica Patel, CEO, First in Math India Private Limited. May I request the AV team to play the profile video of Ms. Monica Patel?
Monica Patel, CEO of First in Maths India Private Limited. First in Maths was launched in 2015 with a mission to make every child fearless with maths and transform students into confident problem solvers. She acquired a master's in special education and technology-based elementary education from Lehigh University's College. She also specialized in research of science of learning and applications. Monica Patel exemplifies a transformative journey of globally impacting millions of students, fostering a fearless approach to maths education and championing innovation in diverse school settings.
Ms. Monica Patel will present a session on evolving and emerging school systems. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and pranam to all of you who actually you're shaping the destiny of India. So first pranam to the Honorable National CBSE Leadership, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, Director Academics, the National CBSE Leadership Team, National Sahodaya, Mumbai Sahodaya, and principals and teachers, for you I have something special. I love you. I love you. So this is how I'm going to greet you. My experience may not be very well known in India. I started out 30 years back as a teacher, so I've been abundantly blessed that I can impact human beings, starting with the classroom. Now it has evolved that I'm able to impact statewide level initiatives, citywide. So London, City of London, we work with the Mayor's Office, State of New York, Department of Education, so on and so forth, and India. India, it's philanthropic projects as well. But in short, it has evolved to transformation at scale around numerous. Hello? Transformation is not for 10 students, it is at scale for all. So today, since I started 30 years back as a teacher, you guys have sort of itched an itch that I have. I am going to get back into teaching mode. You're in class, and I can tell you, I'm a pretty no-nonsense teacher. So class is in session, and what we're going to do today is mini lesson, just as Dr. Brajesh said. For God's sake, no maxi lessons anymore. It's mini lessons. Around 2 words from the NEP that I can speak with complete authority and competence. Transformation and problem solving in the context of mathematics and life. All right? So clear your learning outcomes and objectives around these 2 words. Now, we're going to start with a short story that sets the context of what do these 2 words look like? How do they manifest in the life of a student? Then, there will be applications or takeaways for your school or moral of the story, after which we will close with an exit assessment that you have to clear. Yes, you will have an exit assessment and homework, all of it. So, the short story begins close to home, that of my son. I heard the word autism in the year 2000 at Harvard's McLean Center. I had taken my son from Mumbai to Boston for a diagnosis. Why? Because he was in school physically. Academically, he was close to a window staring into space or wandering the corridors, right? He was invisible. Second, because teaching is in my DNA. My grandfather was a headmaster of a municipal school in Navagam, Gujarat. So my son not getting an education that I know he is capable of is non-negotiable. And third, something interesting had started in 2000, and this was all around Harvard at that time. There was a nascent, faint buzzing of a word, a system called blended learning, and I knew I had to be there for my son's sake. And it turned out to be a great decision. Now, we stayed back, of course. Fast forward to 2005. And this was a byline in a newspaper after he outperformed 600,000 students in the United States in a digital math tournament. Now, what really happened in that fast forward phase is 18 months back, the school district of Bethlehem bought in this blended learning model, and that was my first foray into seeing it live in field. Blended learning comes with a power of 5. Personalized learning, self-directed, self-initiated, taking action consistently, and stress-free because it's self-paced. Now, all that's fine. Blended learning transformed him, great. But to me as a mother, the greatest gift is you took my child, who was viewed as a semi-liability in the school community, and he became a shining asset to that community. That's, I think, the greatest gift. Fast forward, I'm leaping 5 years, okay, all the time. Fast forward 2010, and his problem-solving skills had multiplied exponentially, as did his social acceptance. What is this headline or byline? Essentially, in 2010, the American Mathematical Society, and you all know it's the governing body for the Olympiads, the World Olympiads, recognized him as one of the top 10 mathematicians of United States at the high school level. Me, a mother who had to hide in corners and be told, please don't enter theater because your child cannot sit. We were flown down with honors to New Orleans, put up in the posh Marriott, and he was recognized. To me, again, that's the greatest gift. Now, the biggest aha moment came when Dr. Davis, who's one of the most well-known coaches for the International Math Olympiads, said, Shonak is one of the best problem solvers. That means the skill, kept at it. Here comes, this is the genesis of our life. This is a picture of the Harvard MIT tournament. There's 1,000 students on invitation from around the world, including all national math Olympians of all countries, all right? They're sitting here in team-based competitions. They're friendly competitions, but team-based. This is a picture, my son's in there with the team. What you people cannot see is what I see. There's 3 things in this picture nobody can see. Number 1, my son is sitting in a room filled with noise, filled with chatter, crowded with people and body odors, of course, stimulus, all right? Number 2, he's calm under pressure. Number 3, he is using social communication with his team to achieve a common goal. Why is this important? How many of you know anything about autism and its challenges? I'm proud of you, India. 1999, nobody had heard the word. Proud of you. That's why I said I love you. You know, number 1 challenge, overwhelming. There's anxiety around stimulus. Lights, sounds. Most of the time in a classroom, he used to be under the table because of the lights and sounds. Number 2, rigidity. They could not deal with any pressure or any inflexibility. And number 3, they have an inability to process thoughts and communicate using language. This year, my son acquired a phenomenon, you can study it. It's called cumulative confidence, and there's a team at MIT around this, and they are some of our ex-students. Cumulative confidence is what my son acquired. It transformed his learner identity, and I'll tell you in this very moment, my son is richer than Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk combined. Oh yes, oh yes. A school didn't have place for him, not because they didn't want him. They didn't know what to do with him 30 years back. He's 30 now. After this, he got 2 letters from Harvard, MIT, Princeton, you name it, okay? And he graduated Carnegie Mellon Mathematical Sciences. I'm sorry, you're going to see me tear up. All right. So, what's the greatest gift at the age of 30? What is the competency? Dr. Brajesh Karia, you laid the groundwork for me. This is what I see in my son, and I told you I work with thousands of schools, scaling transformation. Students, this is what I see in my students. When you go through personalized learning that forces you to take action repeatedly, you transform. This was World Economic Forum in 2015, all right? McKinsey said that in 2020. It's a phenomenon called intentional learning, right? We call it what? Learning to learn, wanting to learn, same thing. Intentional learning, self-directed. And that, PISA, just to doctor your point, look at what PISA did. It reaffirmed my belief that if there's any skill in life that'll help you succeed, all right, that is motivation and self-directed learning. It's a new PISA testing domain in 2025. What more could I ask for? This is a change I'm waiting to see, and we're seeing it. Now, mini lesson over. Learning outcomes for you. For a student to be, and now 1 minute, let me back up a bit. This wasn't just about my son. As I said, we've worked over 30 years with close to 35 million students, so I know that. For students to be capable thinkers and problem solvers, these are life skills. Process begins with action. Action has to be self-directed. Each of you are successful because you wanted your success. It has to be self-motivated. Action can't be passive, so sorry teachers, what you are doing, phenomenal. But it's still passive when it comes to mathematics or subjects that require action. So, such transformation, you want to scale it, leverage technology for personalization, Because a mind that is anxious or fearful will not solve the simplest of problems, as simple as me losing my way from South Mumbai to Powai. Thank you, Google Maps, though. So, for students, closing, for students to be capable thinkers and problem solvers, what my takeaway has been for my son is personalized learning does one more thing. It reduces stress and anxiety, and God alone knows after COVID, schools are filled with stress and anxiety. Our teachers are burned out. Let's spare them this. Let's help them, especially around math. Application for your schools, this is coming straight from the work we have done. You know all students must acquire these future skills, got it? You need to scale school-wide, then use blended learning with robust personalized learning programs. Make sure it's action-oriented. Learning by discovery. By the way, transformation, I'm not a big believer in big transformation, going out raising, venture capital, making a multi-crore auditorium, wowing everybody in the world. You can do that, but it begins with just the student. If you do just this much for every student, your school is transformed. Then what about my precious teachers? They transmit the knowledge. Let them use that time to build connections. Create that safe space. Tell the students, go try, take a risk. At the most, you're going to fall and fail, and I'll be there to pick you up. That's our teachers, our mothers, actually. So, mini lesson done, learning outcomes done. Now, exit assessment, because you cannot leave my class without showing me that you've got some problem-solving skills. Therefore, your exit assessment activity will be, and like a good teacher, I'll show you how to do it. There are 4 numbers. You can use add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Get me to the number 24 in 3 steps. By the way, this is a 4th standard level activity. You know add, subtract, multiply, divide. Give me a 3-step solution to the number 24. But wait a minute. Critical thinking must be incorporated. So you are now going to have to face a parameter. You have to use all numbers, and you cannot repeat a number. Example. Yes, somebody. 7 plus 5, 12, yes, next. 3 times 4, 12. Woo-hoo-hoo, this student got that exit assessment. At least class is no longer in session for you. But how about I amp up the difficulty level of the exit assessment? You could be my gifted student. Now, this is a slightly obscure pattern. 7351. Anybody? Yes, sir. Just go, call it out. Wait. 7351. Yes, 7. 7 plus 5, 12, yes. 7 Ooh. He just did something. Another way to get to 24. That's what math is all about. He just did 7 minus 3, 4. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 times 4, 24. And, double digits. If you have the appetite for double digits. 15, 3, 13, and 8. Now, I don't want to chew into any more time. Oh, you have it. Yes, sir. Yes. No, sir. You know why? Critical thinking. Use all numbers, don't repeat a number. 45. All right. We have the answer to this one as, Actually, I have the answer to that. Yes, sir. Yes. 13 plus 8 is how much? 45 minus 21, woohoo, most valuable player. Now, what did you just do? In your exit assessment, as per the NCERT competency, you just demonstrated procedural fluency. This is what you demonstrated. Numerical fluency, accuracy with 4 operations, learning to combine numbers, recognize patterns, order of operations, critical thinking, problem solving, all of it just goes to show math problem solving can be so joyful and stress-free. It's just about understand who are you dealing with and personalize that learning. Let technology do that job. What I want to leave you with is a combination created for Microsoft engineers. So the story behind those cards is in 1988 when they were launched. The Seattle engineers, during their tea break, the Microsoft engineers would play those games. And so the inventor of the game created a challenge for them. This is almost unsolvable. I'll just give you one hint. This is your homework. With that, I'll leave you. The hint is add, subtract, multiply, divide. No integers, no exponents, no roots and no factorials, but you may use fractions. And with that, Jai Hind, thank you for shaping India's destiny. Thank you. Oh, gentlemen, please join us. Join us. You who were brave, bold, you who gave us the solutions, all 3 of you, all he was attempting. For me, a student who attempts, just as valuable. Wow. So you are, I have to give, please, I apologize. I forgot to offer my gratitude to you, Mr. Rajiv Garg. Thank you. You, please, you honor them. You honor them, sir.
Somebody was asking.
Oh, yes. I wasn't a very good teacher. While giving homework, I didn't tell you the answer has to be 24. Sorry. I love my students giving feedback. A loud round of applause for those who fearlessly were doing problem solving.
Thank you, Ms. Monica Patel, for that inspiring session. May I request Mrs. Nandita Khanna, Joint Secretary, Mumbai, Sahodaya, to felicitate Ms. Monica Patel. The theme for the panel discussion is environmental sustainability in educational spaces, greening school systems. May I take the privilege of inviting the panel lead, Mrs. Ranjana Jangra, Vice President, Mumbai, Sahodaya. First panelist, may I take the privilege of inviting Mrs. Kiran Juneja onto the dais, please. May I request the AV team to play the video.
Ramesh Sippy Academy of Cinema and Entertainment, founded by Padma Shri Ramesh Sippy, the celebrated director behind iconic films like Sholay, Shan, and many more, is committed to nurturing creative talent, bridging the gap between film and media skills education and the ever-evolving entertainment industry. Established in 2017 at Mumbai University, under the guidance of Padma Shri Ramesh Sippy himself and producer, writer, director, actor, anchor, Ms. Kiran Juneja, and ace director and producer, Mr. Rohan Sippy, known for his films and web series alike. RSAs, with the support from the film and media fraternity as advisors, provides 5 graduate courses awarded by Mumbai University. What sets RSAs apart is a cluster of faculties comprising industry veterans and experts, workshops and masterclasses with the celebrities and industry-grade internships. RSA students have not only got high-paying jobs with leading production houses, but have also become entrepreneurs, Further, they have won awards at national and international film festivals for their project films. For K-12 schools, RSA's Next Gen offers an after-school program to encompass the multidisciplinary art form of filmmaking for students to explore the career opportunities and fields of further studies in film and media, introducing teachers training program and summer camps.
It's time I did something more exciting than just the making of one film. I want to lay the ground through this for hundreds of thousands of students in the years to come.
We are excited and delighted to launch the RSS Film Festival and Awards to celebrate film and media skills with students in schools and institutes. We further invite you to join us at the RSS Film Festival and Awards.
I just want to say that the initials of the Academy read RSACA. There's already an ACE in this Academy, and I'm sure that Ramesh Sippy will live up to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Team AV. The other panelists for the panel discussion are Mrs. Kavita Singh, Mrs. Jayashree Venkatramanan, Mrs. Manisha Karekar. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
Good morning to one and all present here. Before I start with the panel discussion, I would like to bring your attention to certain things. Do you know that every year, millions of tons of plastic, which is wasted, it ends up in our oceans, threatening marine life and ecosystem. 78% of marine mammals are at the risk of choking on plastic. By 2050, there will be more plastic in oceans than fishes. Another very surprising fact, we Indians produce 62 million tons of waste annually, with 70% only collected, and about 12 million tons treated, while 31 million tons ends up in landfills. And you know what are the drawbacks and what are the health hazards which are there because of landfills. Aren't these facts are shocking and disturbing? Yes, yes, my dear friends. When we are spending 2 days of the conference on reimagining the changing landscape in the educational arena, I think one important aspect is about safety of our environment. This is extremely important. If we don't want our children to suffer in future because of the mistakes which we are doing or we did in the past, we need to sensitize our students. As we always say, children are future citizens and we are preparing future citizens. So naturally, and we are telling global citizens we want to make them. So we need to look into this aspect very seriously. Otherwise, the problem will increase by multiple times and it will be difficult to solve. And as I said, our children will have to suffer. The main issue is that it's not only to do something, but to sensitize children, to make them realize what exactly they have to do. And through children, we can change the entire society and country at large as well. So today's session is this panel discussion is environmental sustainability in educational spaces, greening school systems. When we talk about environmental sustainability in our school spaces, what is the meaning of this actually? It means we are talking about the initiatives, the measures, the steps which we can take in our schools to reduce our carbon prints, to talk about conservation, and to take certain steps to sensitize children to make them future ready. And to create eco-friendly, resilient kind of learning system in the school. This is the meaning, or I can a little bit explain you about the panel discussion. Through this panel discussion, we will be talking about certain aspects of this topic, and I'm sure I'll try my best that at the end of panel discussion, you will all have better understanding, we all will have better understanding, and hopefully we will try to give some practical solutions also, which we can utilize in the school and to save the environment. So, my first question goes to Kavita Singh ma'am. What do you think are some initiatives which schools can take towards environmental sustainability and greening the schools?
Thank you, Ranjana ma'am. Namaste, everyone. May I request a galaxy of intellectuals to close their eyes for few seconds. Close your eyes for few seconds. And what you have to do, you have to imagine the scene with my words. Hope you must have heard, as most of you are from my generation, this song. Hari Hari Vasundhara pe नीला नीला ये गगन कि जिसके बादलों की पालकी उड़ा रहा ये पवन दिशाएं देखो रंग भरी दिशाएं देखो रंग भरी चमक रही उमंग भरी ये किस फूल से किया श्रृंगार है ये कौन चित्रकार है ये कौन चित्रकार. Hope you could bring the beautiful image of the environment in front of you. Now, what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is to ensure that this beauty of the nature remains as it is, how it is described in this song. Now, as a school, what can we do? I am fortunate that I'm the principal of one residential school, which is spread across 200-acre land, and it is not published anywhere, but it is one of the best green school in Mumbai. So for us, it is very easy to implement many solutions towards protecting environment. So what we have done, we have a compost dig in our campus. And all the initiatives what we have taken, it is taken through students only. So all the food waste or leftover food, we use to make compost. Now what can be done with the school who are not having big space? If the space is less, you can have this compost bin in your classroom also. Only we need to motivate children, we have to bring awareness in the children that how they can use their leftover meal and how the compost can be made in the classroom itself. On the net, everything is available. We can make them to research instead of giving them solution. Second, if you have a little more space as we have, we can have or we can create dense forest. You must have heard about this. We don't need a big space. If you don't have space, we can have Bachcho Ki Bagiya in the school or in the classroom. Now in Bachcho Ki Bagiya, what we have also thought of initiating, we have not yet implemented, but it is in our thought. So Bachcho Ki Bagiya, we can select some group or some class and we can ask them to plant small trees, so they can have medicinal plant, they can have some plants, which is useful in the kitchen. So they will have love towards trees and plants. Second, the school which are in the city, they can have this policy, walk to school or cycle to school. And if the school is little far or it is at a distance, we can make awareness among the children or especially among the parents that they can pull the car or they can pull the vehicle. Since many schools have bus, so this problem I don't think many schools will face, but we can do this. We have to lead by example. Again and again saying that switch off light, fan, computer when not in use may not work too much because if we do it on our own, so the moment we come out of the office, cabin or classroom, we have to ensure that we have switched off everything. So automatically children will absorb these all things. So what I believe, Ranjana ma'am, there are many things which can be done, but we have to show it by doing it. So simply by saying कि ये करना है, that doesn't work much. But when we start implementing it, when we start doing it, then you will, I'm ensuring you that you will see that your children also do the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Kavita ma'am, for giving some good suggestions and wonderful ideas. But, these ideas can really work and sustain for longer time. This is more important. Sustainability in the school, when we talk about, it is not one-day work. It is not one project. It has to be a long-term project. It has to be for longer period. Sustainability of the sustainable projects is an important aspect which should work. Now, how can you have sustainable projects for environment sustainability in the school? This can happen only if the entire ecosystem of the school is to be changed. All stakeholders are to be involved. As I said, it cannot be one project, it cannot be one activity, it has to be for the longer time. It can happen only if it is imbibed in the curriculum, it is imbibed in the minds of people who are in the school, be it curriculum, be it teaching learning practices, be it administrative practices, stakeholders, parents, everybody should think in the same manner. So the entire ecosystem, we need to bring a change. So my next question goes to Madam Kiran Juneja. How can schools ensure to integrate more comprehensive environmental education into school curriculum and teaching learning strategies, ma'am?
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, pleasure being here between all you. Not working? That's what I said. Pleasure being here between all you people who are actually the trainers and who are going to help the next generation learn whatever they learn. And I can only contribute in a very small way. I think it's very important. What we really lack in education in India is we don't really have specific classes for civic sense. I think we lack that. I think what we need to do is we need to incorporate that as a part of the curriculum. And especially with this NEP and the new system that we're bringing in, I think it's very easy to do that. And in those classes, we need to actually train and educate the students as to how to think green and how to bring it about, how to think of waste management, to make it as a part of their learning, even litter, even to throw things around, how to put them properly into the proper dustbins which have been allocated to them, so that the waste matter is then utilized and recycled in a proper way. Now, some of these things are very new to the Indian environment. And students are very quick learners. So if we really train them properly, and like ma'am said, if they are shown the path, and if we as parents and we as a generation do it and they see us, they will follow. So the example has to be set by us and not by them. Having said that, a part of the curriculum can also teach them to grow plants. For instance, there are many plants which are actually oxygen giving. So if we were to grow those plants, have a couple of those plants in every classroom. So we are creating oxygen friendly environment for the students, and they are learning. We give them the knowledge that these are the specific plants that can be used. It brings beauty within a school, does not require too much space, can be done in pots or can be done in a garden. But if they go themselves and grow these plants, if they're taught to do that, there are specific classes held for that, co-curricular activities held for that with children, and then they nourish these plants. Something like saying, okay, this is your plant, and the child then becomes responsible for that plant, for the growth of that plant. There can be competition, there can be green competitions where the students can participate in and take place. Today, social media is so huge, and I think the students of today can be taught to use social media as a medium, a tool to spread the word, to give knowledge, go around. They can be sent as a project from the school to communities where they can sort of, plant the trees, give some kind of knowledge, share their experiences. And I think doing that would really go a long way.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for, again, very good ideas. I liked the idea what ma'am gave, that there is no separate class for civic sense. That's really important because many a times what happens, it's not that class is not there, but what children sometimes learn in school, but when they go home, when they go on in the society, they see something different happening over there. In school, we teach them, don't throw the litter here and there, but when they go out sometimes, while driving their own parents, own relatives or friends, they throw the things outside. They get confused, especially the younger children. There is a conflict in the values at that time. So yes, this is another point which can be helpful to sensitize children towards all these things. Thank you, ma'am. I know I'm talking about to bring the ecosystem, bring the change in the ecosystem itself, to bring parents, teachers, everybody on board, but it's not that easy. Anything, of course, when we start with, there are challenges, but we educators always are ready to face the challenges. So my next question is to Manisha ma'am, that what challenges do schools face to implement green initiatives, and how can these challenges be overcome?
Thank you, Ranjana ma'am, and very good morning to one and all. Actually, being an educator, I think so it's a very big challenge for all of us. We need to make an environmental awareness, the concern, make them passionate. The challenges could be any, but I personally feel that it has to be imbibed right from their childhood. In the school, we see that the teachers, usually, for the small kids I'm talking about, pre-primary, they take them in environment, they make them feel the environment. And there are so many activities being done, but after going home, they forget everything. So it's a big challenge for all of us. So here we can always take help of the higher class students to send them for such activities to get it done with the pre-primary section, primary section. It is very important for all of us to understand that, as we say, that future generation, we are actually going to be in trouble if we really don't take care of it. Mother Nature, what we call it as. So teachers can do such activities and even parents could be involved into that. And parents need to be aware that what exactly the students are doing, the children are doing in the schools. So accordingly, we can take care of that. Challenges could be any, but we can overcome to that. So I personally feel that environment, like a lot of eco-friendly clubs, nature clubs, field trips could be arranged where even small kids could be involved into that. So that is what I personally understand. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Challenges are there in the school. There may be infrastructural challenges, there may be mindset challenges, there may be thought process is different. That can be a challenge, thought process of all the teachers to bring them at par, bringing the thought process of parents at par, the local government on board, infrastructure challenges. So these may be the challenges which schools might be facing. I was talking to one of the principals here, and she is our core committee member. Ma'am, I think Kavita ma'am or Juneja ma'am also said that school can start with farming this idea. I mean, children can nurture the plants in the school. So this can be an infrastructural hurdle, where to have that. But Nalanda Public School is one, they are having it on the terrace. So where there is a will, there is a way. If you have interest, if you really want to do something, there are ways to do so. So challenges will come, but we can definitely overcome. I can give you an example of my own experience. We always have creative and critical thinking conclave in the school, and we always give food packets to children. So this year we took the goal that we are not going to use single-use plastic in the school for anything. The challenge was how to make that food packet. Do you know, government has though banned single-use plastic things, but do you know how many things are banned, single-use plastic? Anyone can tell me the number, how many things are banned of single-use plastic? Nobody knows. So there are only 19 things. But in general, we always hear single-use plastic is banned, single-use plastic is banned. But there are only 19 things. Reusable glasses and spoons and plates, these are banned. But have you seen biscuit wrappers, chips wrapper, sauce sachets, pickle sachets? They all are single-use plastic. So when we were making the food packet, it was a challenge for us to give something nutritional, healthy, and without single-use plastic. So this is very simple example, but these kinds of simple challenges also come sometimes if you think of going completely zero plastic school. So yes, there are, and that is why I said, if I have to go ahead in my school, I have to take everybody with me, the local government also. So there may be some challenges, but yes, we brainstormed a lot and we made that food packet which was completely without single-use plastic and full of healthy food. So we can overcome. We need to think of, you have to think creatively. You have to think out of the box. Okay, so my next question is to Jayashree ma'am. It is related to this, what we are discussing about it. What role can government policies play in promoting and enforcing environmental sustainability practices in school?
Thank you so much. It's such a delight to share this dais with eminent educationists and also address amazing educationists from across the globe. I think government already is doing a lot. I think past 2 years we have been receiving Green School Awards because they do come, inspect our schools, check about the way we dispose waste, we segregate waste, the use of fans and lights in the school, the wastage of water that happens, the taps, leaking taps, those things are taken into account. However, possibly, just like I think what CBSE has initiated, the SQUA, we could actually have our own self-evaluation as to how good we are. I think if we have to assess ourselves, I think that possibly is the best assessment. Because, you know where the shoe pinches and you would actually work on it. It's absolutely high time. It's not about satisfying somebody else. But I think as this generation, we need to know that we are super, super guilty of messing up the environment. Our parents actually led a very, very minimalistic life. They bought only when things were required because possibly it was the era of minimalism. But I think this particular generation has gotten away with huge exposure of abundance. So I think the SDG 12, which talks about responsible production and responsible consumption, if every child were to be conscious about what he is picking,
what is it that he's picking just for the sake of it, whether he can do without it, then I think we will go a long way in instilling that sense of sustainable development goals. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful ideas again. So, as ma'am said, it is very important to reduce. Always we talk about reduce, recycle, and reuse. But sometimes, if we talk about just plastic itself, recycling is very expensive process. Of course, we say that we can recycle the plastic, but it's not easy. These recycling, it is expensive. So why can't we teach our children reusing or reducing? That is very important, as ma'am talked about minimalism. So these kinds of projects also we can do in the school. We can sensitize children not to unnecessarily purchase and buy things if they are not in need, to reduce the waste which we produce every year in tons, million tons. Thank you, ma'am. Now my next question is again Kiran ma'am, to Kiran ma'am. What strategies school can use to foster a sense of environmental responsibility beyond the school premises? I mean, how can the ideas be taken to the society at large? How can we take the project outside the school also?
Well, partly I'd already said that, you can, these students can use social media.
You have to keep a little close.
Yeah. So I'd already discussed it earlier also, but to repeat it, I think social media is a great form of taking it outside of the school by the school children and spreading the word nationally, internationally, because it's a platform that is used extensively by the young generation today, specifically. Also, we can have competitions outside of the school, initiatives taken by the students where you can have green competitions where people can bring, their plants and pots, and sort of the best plant gets the best prize. Those kind of initiatives can be taken. I have not heard anybody discuss solar. So solar power is another thing. I think awareness about that should be brought. Students can talk about it, and schools can use it. It's a wonderful way of cutting down the power. Also, social media, pamphlets can be used. Pamphlets, again, I don't promote only because it's paper. And we don't want to be using paper unnecessarily. It's just, half of the pamphlets are thrown away by people and not even read. I just find the net and the social media better format because it's not wasting any kind of... So awareness programs can be done. Students can go into the community and have competitions and, they can do street plays. Small street plays can be organized by even the Chota students, which is very sweet to see. I want to share a little anecdote of mine. One day I was watching YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube because I think YouTube gives you knowledge of so many things, and a lot of their short films are very inspiring. So I just saw this little ad film. It's not in an ad film, I should say a promotional kind of a film made. And a gentleman of about maybe 30 years old was driving a car, and at a signal he rolled down his window and he threw an empty bottle of water which he had consumed outside of the window, shut his window and moved on. And you saw a small child running after him, and at the next hall this little child knocked at the door, and the gentleman opened the window, rolled down his window because the kid said roll down. So he rolled down his window, and the child gave him his bottle and said, "Sir, you left this bottle at the last signal." Now, this is the way of saying that, do not litter, do not throw plastic anywhere and everywhere. It was done so nicely, it has stayed in my mind, and I must have seen this maybe 3 years ago. So we can, in education, inspire students to make small films like this, which can be put on YouTube, which can even be aired on OTT platforms, on television, made by students. And it's very, very inspiring. So these are the kind of things we can do. Solar, like I said, can be used to teach students not to leave their laptops open, not even the mobiles we use, the wires, we just leave the switch on all day. Believe me, even when you think you're not using it, it is using power. And imagine multiply that into every house which has at least 3-4 wires. Now multiply that and see, just by that one effort of switching off the button after you pull out your mobile, or actually switching off the button of a television that you are watching. These little things at home, if we train ourselves, not just the remote, but the button. It can AC also, anything, because it is using power. But just multiply it. Every house, 5, 6, 7, 10 gadgets a house. Imagine the kind of energy we can save, the kind of power we can save, which can help the environment. So these are very small things, and they can be brought about in a very interesting way, in small films, or small write-ups, which can be created by the students themselves.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am just now has given very good ideas. This generation, as Mr. Brijesh was also talking about, is digital generation. So, if we can bring them into making small, impactful videos, as ma'am said that it retained her in her mind for more than years. So, videos can be very impactful, because AVs always, leave more impact than if we listen something or read something. Another very small example I can give, like in our school, during assembly, we keep the lights, it's a light off time. So 5 minutes, keep the lights off everywhere, only for 5 minutes. So you can, as ma'am said, because the school is big, if for 5 minutes also we keep all the lights, fans off, it makes an impact. Same thing during recess time also. So if we start using small steps, if we take, that helps a lot. As ma'am talked about residential schools, and if you have a good space, green space in your school, you must be generating some biodegradable waste also. So vermicomposting pit can be started in the school, and manures can be used, which can be used for the school. This is one very small thing which schools can do. There are many ways through which we can definitely teach our students, and we can sensitize them. So my next question is to, or maybe last question is to, because we are running short of time. The main question which I feel we can ask is to Jayashree ma'am. How can schools assess and measure the impact of their sustainability initiatives over time? Because we are suggesting a lot of ideas, we can do something in the school, but how can I ensure myself that I am on the right track? How can I assess myself that the steps or the measures which I have taken in my school is really working, it is sustainable, it is impactful?
Thank you so much. I think the best way to measure it, get the children involved. I have identified some environment ministers in my school. And they range from different classes, like first and second standard. Second standard students are environment ministers. Few of them have been identified. For third, fourth grade, there are fourth standard students. So at all levels, these children actually go around ensuring that the fans, lights, ACs are put off when not in use. They also ensure that the taps don't leak. We have also initiated a training program of plumbing for our children so that they can also do minimal plumbing activities so as to ensure that those broken taps don't leak. So all these are part of the process, and it kind of is part of my regular school activity.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, CBSE also has initiated LIVE, which is related to the environment project. In SQUA, there are many questions. A questionnaire can be made for self-analysis. When we talk about environment and safe school, green school, there are a lot of aspects. Aspects related to land, to air, to energy, to waste, how much waste we are generating, how are we disposing it, whether we are doing it in a green way or we are just disposing our waste in the school. So I feel for different areas, we can make a questionnaire kind of and do the self-audit also in a year, whether we are implementing properly, where do we stand. There are some organizations, those who do audit for you, we can go for that as well. Center for Science and Environment at Delhi, they give green school, they do audit, so we all can start with, and I'm sure when we undergo this kind of audit process in a structured way through questionnaire, there are a lot of insights and a lot of learning. Definitely first year you may not get good score, but next year after learning, if we implement, we do the gap analysis and implement certain good initiatives, definitely we can make our schools the green schools. Thank you so much to all the panelists.
One small tip
Yes,
I can give. I have started using fountain pens past 3 years. And I can assure you that it just works wonders.
Thank you.
Because it's actually replaced at least 6 used pens, that would have found its way to the dustbin.
Correct. You reduce the waste.
So it starts from my table.
Yes. Thank you very much, Kiran ma'am, Kavita ma'am, Jayashree ma'am, and Manisha ma'am for enriching. I hope it helped you all to understand the sustainable schools in a better way. Thank you so much.
Ranjana ma'am, if you will allow me one line. At the end, I will say, go green, breathe clean, Geo or Gino do. Tagline should touch the heart of the children and mind of the children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Mrs. Ranjana Jangra for steering our insightful panel discussion, and our heartfelt appreciation to our esteemed panelists for their enriching contribution during this session. May I now request Dr. Antariksh Johri, Director IT CBSE, and Dr. Ram Shankar, Director Training CBSE, to felicitate our panelists, please.
Thank you so much.